Hi, and welcome to episode 7 of Under the
Episode
Volcano.
8.
Oh, fuck. Hi, and welcome to episode 8 of Under the Volcano. And today we are in reflective mood for a couple of reasons. First, it's Nyepi on Sunday night and Monday here, which is the Day of Silence. And that is a time of reflection, man. There's also the combination of Malasti, which is a big deal here, and also Kuningan, the end of their 6-month, the Bali 6-month festival, and it's culminating in Nyepi, which is the 24-hour day of silence. It's also the start of Ramadan, the Muslim holy month for the Prophet.
Praise be upon him.
Praise be upon him. That's your cue, man. You got your cue.
No.
We're also drink.
I love a cue.
You love a cue. So we are a bit. It's all a bit kind of different and funky this week because we can't leave our houses, and we're still drinking beer. I'm having a Bintang Crystal, and Mr. Wallace is having a regular
unleaded.
We've run out of sponsored beer. The gorgeous
beer.
Send more beer from Mr. Island Brewing. Ty, if you're listening to this, man, in this gorgeous, and you can hear in the background, I'm sure, in Ian's place, the rain pouring down, man. It has been biblical,
Yeah.
It's been absolutely biblical. And I've had a couple of business meetings this week when people are like from other places in the world. I'm saying, look, dude, I'm sorry, but it is biblical pissing down. It's the beginning of the holy month. It's also the beginning of Malasti, Kuningan, and Nyepi. You're going to have to chill out. You know what they've said to me from those other places? And this is what you get a lot from the first world. It's like, I don't give a fuck about that. That kind of doesn't sit well with me. It doesn't sit well with me. And, and for some reason we live in Bali. For many reasons we live in Bali. And for many reasons, the outside world, if you like, the Western world, puts money and business and stuff like that above the things that we live with here. And that is a bit of a struggle. It's very hard to explain to someone living in the West what it's like, to live amongst the people that follow the moon and do not follow money. It really is, man. And I found it this week very challenging, just to deal with, first world people. God bless them and their money because it pays all the bills. But it has been very challenging, I have to say, and I've tried to sort of explain it to them, and they've just told me to sort of, they don't give a fuck about it, and that doesn't sit well with me, man. So for Nyepi, have you got any plans, Ian?
No, I just got plenty of beer in.
Okay.
But we're just basically because everything's going to be shut down, for the afternoon before, so we're just going to hunker down. Enjoy the silence to the phrase,
Well, I mean, hunkering down, I've sort of got over the hunkering down because when I first came here, I was like, okay, I was straight to the hotel and stuff, and just sort of terrified about the idea of not having electricity, not having internet, and having to actually sit in a room on your own. And then I went to jail, and I got very used to sitting in a room on my own with no internet and no contact, So I don't know. It takes a while for first world people to sort of kind of get their head around the idea of just shutting everything down for 24 hours. And it's only 24 hours, but it's enormously challenging for a lot of people.
Yeah. No, I'm looking forward to it. I really am.
Yeah. I've got a book I haven't read for, it's been sat in my bed for a year, and I haven't got around to finishing it. So I'm really looking forward to that. We also we're also in reflective mood because it's pissing down at Ian's place, and we've had biblical floods and we're in religious mode slightly. We're doing our first remote podcast. We also want to talk a little bit about men's mental health.
Yeah.
Now, before you get like, oh God, let's switch off, let's just think about that, man, because it's a huge thing, and I think that it's unspoken about. I think that men of our age, Norfolk men of our age, man, we've been through it, and it's a difficult thing it's become more prevalent to talk about it now, of course, but
thank you.
but back in the day, it really wasn't, and then we all, let's be frank, still struggle with maintaining a positive mental attitude. What do you reckon, Ian?
Yeah, I think, and actually, despite the, how mental health, I think mental health in general has been sort of pushed to the forefront. I think there's still a lot of taboo surrounding it, where one doesn't feel able to be completely honest about the challenges that one has had in the past or currently or whatever, because you would be marginalised, stigmatised, blah, blah, blah. So, my own story, I really struggled from the age of 20 till probably about 33. All sorts of stuff going on. And I sought professional help. I sought to self-medicate, whatever. And eventually just worked it out for myself. And it's
which is sort of where, most people get to, but, or they take the other route, which is, of course, tragic. And we've all had friends, man. I'm sure you have.
Absolutely.
I've had friends who've just silently just taken their own life, and we've all been left wondering why that was, and what we could have done and what we didn't do. And it's it's important to, I think, just first talk about, be open about the fact that people, certainly sort of men of our age or men in general, we're just going to talk about men here. I'm not familiar with the kind of thing with the girls, but I think that it's important that we recognise that mental health is, a huge killer, and it's something that I think every single person that I know struggles with at one point in their life. I mean, I certainly have as well. I mean, I've woken up, and I've been through years of it sometimes. And it's a strange thing that brings it on, and I don't know if this is true for other people, but it's a sort of a combination of, it's a weird cocktail of things that brings it on. Like it's a mix, for me, it's a mix of confidence, expectations, criticism, the weather, man, and some days it can just sort of combine in a way that brings it on physically. It's not just a mental thing. It brings it on physically for me. In that it's so debilitating, and it's very hard. And of course, you end up. Of course, you might seek professional help, but in the end, you're sort of left on your own with it. And also I know that what would sort of solve it is somebody just sort of saying they're there to you, bit of the they're there. But then the there doesn't really work all the time, because that can just sort of feed also into your idea of your self-worth and stuff like that. So you can end up feeling like the there becomes patronizing. And it just then puts you further in that box, So it's a strange thing that I think also there's some sort of chemical imbalances that go on. I think that, of course, drinking, okay, I'm going to have a beer, it'll make me feel better. But in the end, of course, it doesn't make you feel better. You can look at that. And then, of course, relationships, you look at that. And I don't know, man, it's a very curious It's a very curious beast, the black dog, you know.
Yeah, and I think men's mental health in particular, it's all encompassing, but I think specifically men's mental health, there's always this thing, and I don't think we necessarily feel it fit into this sort of demographic, but there is this whole thing about as a man, you're not supposed to feel X, Y, Z, whatever. You don't talk about it with your mates in the detail that you might do if perhaps you were a female. From my own experience of knowing, male and female. So I think, current trends are encouraging men to talk about their own mental health, what bothers them, what struggles they have. It's good. And there's some brilliant organisations, there's some brilliant podcasts, internet stuff out there to help people.
I think when I kind of reach that point, I don't know what do I actually need. Do I need to talk to somebody anonymously about it? Mm-hmm. I also have a resistance to talking to like a therapist, an anonymous therapist about it. But I know that I'm encouraged to do it by my family members and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure it'd be very helpful, but I just feel that getting over that step is also enormous, like actually calling somebody and talking to somebody that,
From my own perspective, it was always a trust thing and thinking, well, I should be able to work this out for myself, and then trusting someone with that information, with opening the heart, whatever. So fast forward, I was probably struggling until on and off until 10 years ago, something like that.
Right.
Changed my life completely 10 years ago by where I lived, how I lived my life, blah blah blah, and which was fantastic. But it ran its course. It ran its course, and which then coincidentally was where I decided to move to Bali. And now I cannot even remember how I used to feel.
That's a very good thing. Getting through the storm, and we're in a big storm now, so I was sat at the shop, on the way home sort of today, and it absolutely pissed down. I couldn't get on my bike, and I was sheltered, against the storm, and there were other people there suddenly that I didn't know. And I looked around and I thought, well, they also having their own issues in their lives, but just sort of the idea of sheltering under a roof with other human beings, you know what I mean? Sort of gave me some perspective about how you're not alone in anything. And then it also made me think that when the storm passed, I could get back on my bike again and go about my business, And that's sort of how, depression and stuff and the black dog and all that is for me.
Yeah, it's good.
I've learned to experience it and wait for it to pass, because this too will pass. And I think that people that opt for sort of the checking out early, suicide or whatever, they don't get to that point where they can see that there may be a tomorrow, And I get that too, because it's so painful when you're in the middle of it. It's so painful that you just want to end it, and fucking hang yourself in the fucking garage. Do you know what I mean? But sure somehow you sort of live through it, because I've been close, man. I've been close. And also the other thing is just bizarre drugs that you take, not illegal drugs, but like prescription drugs that you take. So statins, for instance, they give you when you're 50 sort of thing to get your blood pressure down. And also, so you take a statin and you that may then relate to your mental mood as well, and things you don't realize it because it's been prescribed to you by a doctor. So you think that's the way to go. The other one that really nearly got me was having glaucoma, right? So that's a
really?
hereditary disease. Yeah.
Okay.
And my dad had
me too.
glaucoma. So when I went to the doctor or the optician one day, and they said, okay, well, you've got glaucoma, we need to do your cataracts, but first take these eye drops. I took those eye drops, and I swear to God, within 2 weeks, I was sat on my back step, considering hanging myself in the fucking garage. And I honestly, when I looked at it, because it confused me. I was so depressed, but it confused me. So I sort of somehow mentally managed to work back about why am I feeling like this? Because there's nothing wrong with my life. I live in Bali. I've got a great family. I've got beautiful support. Living a wonderful life and doing what I want. And still, I sat on the back step considering hanging myself in the fucking garage. And I just I counted back, to the time when it started. It was a fucking eye drop. And I hadn't even considered that to be a drug. I just thought it was a fucking eye drop. I thought it was something that you just, like an eye wash thing or whatever.
Yeah.
But when I looked at the bottle, that eye drop, is a massive beta blocker. So it has a variety of side effects.
How interesting.
And one of the sort of good side effects of it is it reduces the pressure in your eye, which causes glaucoma. So it can sort of relieve glaucoma. But then when I started to look it up, you know how I noticed this, Ian? And this is the most bizarre thing. This is why I fucking love beer. So I went down to the pub after I'd taken their medicine to reduce my glaucoma, and I took one sip of the beer, and it tasted like shit.
Right.
And I sent the bottle back. I said, "There's something wrong with your beer,"
Okay.
And they said, "No, there's nothing wrong with our beer, Pat." The second one came, a new one came. I put that to my lips. It also tasted like shit. I thought, there's something clearly not right here. I looked at my prescription and I Googled what was going on with my eye drops. And I found out that the eye drop they give you for glaucoma is the same drug they give to people who climb Everest. It's
the pressure and stuff, or pressure?
Well, it's like for air sickness, not air sickness, but like for altitude stuff. So they give it to you for altitude sickness. So one of the great effects it has as well is that it helps with altitude sickness.
Okay.
But then I read that this particular eye drop, the drug that was in the eye drop, was given to climbers, and then there was this thing called the champagne disaster, or the champagne, problem. So they take a bottle of something up there to the top of the mountain. When they get to the top of the mountain, they want to drink something, right? And they taste it, and it would taste like shit. And I read that, and I thought, fuck me, So they're giving this drug in an eye drop liquid form. It's just an eye drop.
Fucking hell.
Just an eye drop, man. And it has a list of things that it can do to you. One of which is it can help you with altitude sickness. The other one is it can reduce your pressure in your eye for glaucoma. And then there's a whole host of other shit that you don't know.
you don't fucking know.
Right. And one of them is it can lead you to depression because it's a beta blocker. So it blocks adrenaline, So it blocks adrenaline. As soon as you block adrenaline or something positive in your body that makes you feel good and stuff, you're suddenly going to feel like shit.
That's really interesting. Really
So I just chucked that shit in the bin. And my brother also was on it. And he was like, I don't know why I feel so fucking down, man. My life's good. But, I was like, dude, just stop those fucking eye drops. Literally within 2 days, I woke up. I sat on the back step. And the world, everything was right with the world. The sun shone,
it's
man.
It's fascinating, isn't it? It's fascinating.
Yeah.
So
I worry that some people, go down that medical path and then just get fucked in the arse by that stuff as well. Yeah.
I agree. So 3, maybe 4 years ago, I was diagnosed with. It started off at high blood pressure, and then. Surprise, surprise. Oh, your cholesterol's high. So got
Right.
blood pressure tablets, fucking statins, and
Right.
the statins, I can't describe how they made me feel, but they're fucking horrible. So I stopped taking them. Anyway, I started taking them again when I was back in England last year. I had to reapply for my lorry license and all that shit. So I started taking, and my blood pressure was high when I was back in England.
Yeah.
So I started taking the blood pressure tablets, fuck the statins right off. But so took the blood pressure tablets, got my HGV license, medical pass, blah blah blah. As soon as I got back to Bali in November, stopped. I stopped all my medication, everything that I was ever on, which was about only fucking 3. Oh, another one for gout, so I stopped that as well. And do you know what? Honestly, Nigel, since I've been back, since November, I haven't had gout. My blood pressure, which I take every day, has been fucking normal. And it's all about, obviously, I'm doing a lot more exercise now and just healthy living, just relax, blah, 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 everything, you know? So I firmly believe it's a lifestyle thing.
It is,
know?
I think.
And
I
we're
think
fucked
the drug.
in the West, we're fucked because we've got no choice. You know, we live this fucking awful life.
Yeah.
I might put it a bit strongly, but you know what I mean? You know, a life full of fucking stress and blah, blah, blah. And I know, you know, I'm not diminishing the fact that you and I are very fortunate to be able to live here and do what we do, you know, and not everybody has that opportunity.
Having said that, you know, even in paradise, you could feel depressed, and that may be drug related, and it may be just related to circumstances in your past or what have you. And I think that it remains a good idea to get good help online. It also remains a good idea to find a friend who'll actually listen to you, and that's very hard. That's very hard, man, because no one wants to fucking listen to you droning on, and your wife doesn't want to listen to you droning on. But at some point, somebody has to just listen to you. And I think we should maybe close with we're going to put our numbers on the YouTube channel, and if anybody is out there, man, I mean seriously, and needs a chat.
I've got some good little websites to put on there. So I
also wonder whether Big George, who fought his way up the hill,
up that fucking hill,
at the that fair, to beat up, you know, one by one all those pikeys to get to the top, you know, and then beat that pikey, and then only to have his balls blown off. By a sawn-off shotgun because they lost. As he was leaving, I wonder whether George had ever had any mental health problems. We should talk about that, yeah? Do we have time?
We should. Yeah. We have time?
I don't think we do, man.
No.
I think we've done it.
Well,
next week, we promise.
Next week, episode 9.
We'll tell you the story of Big George.
We shall.
Having his balls blown off. Anyway, you stay tidy out there.
Bang tidy. Everyone.
Love you, man.
Yeah.